So we want to look at some practical examples in ancient and modern architecture to help us understand the principles. First, I just wanted to mention that the most important single concept in biologic architecture, in addition, of course, to kind of making a magnetic map to where the building lies on the ley lines in the grid and the magnetic fields, and measuring the electrosmog and understanding the effects of electric fields on biology, the most important idea is to understand what is a living material, what is an organic material, and define that in terms that you could present in a physics class. For example, gold and palladium are profoundly dodecaecosa in their outer valence electron shell symmetry, which makes them beautifully fractal. Gold, palladium, that kind of thing. So a thin film of gold is profoundly spiritual and serves biology beautifully. But on the opposite end of that spectrum, steel and aluminum, aluminum produces an electric field which is opposite to fractal, which is, ask any homeopath, it's well known. Put dishes of germinating seeds inside aluminum foil, they're going to die. Put water in an aluminum cup, you don't want to drink it. It's really that serious. Look at the health statistics of aluminum foil factories. This is not good stuff. It has to do with the physics of the amperage they use in the electric field to push the bauxite into aluminum. It's called misqualified energy. In technical physical terms, it means that the harmonics that are then contained in the field effect made by that molecule, the bauxite in pain in the aluminum, the allium is not evil, but when the wave has been pushed into the aluminum with so much electric heat to make the aluminum in a factory, the molecules are literally out of phase electrically with everything alive. So the electric field of aluminum is literally, measurably, and physically poisonous to everything alive. So we even can get a definition of evil, which the definition of evil is a wave that fails to nest or embed in biology. So as a physicist, as an electrical engineer, in terms of defining what electric fields serve biology, I can tell you from pure physics that aluminum is evil. So this is an example of our chart. Now obviously we can't afford gold and palladium for all of our buildings, so we look at other materials. It turns out that very high on the scale, say of stone, is paramagnetic and piezoelectric stones like calcium-based stone, limestones, and your granite, and your basalt. These stones are highly piezoelectric, highly paramagnetic. Paramagnetic means it will treat the electric field like a lens and organize it. That's good. So paramagnetic stone is good. Diamagnetic is stone that breaks up magnetic fields like a sieve, like a strainer. That's called fractionation as opposed to fractality. So diamagnetic stone, like sandstone for example, is not so good. So you make that as a graph and you say fractal or non-fractal. Talk about stone, you can talk about wood. For example, in wood, the closer the grain, the hardwoods, trace mineral content is very good. The softwoods are not quite so good, but they're still a lot better than most of the metals. And then you have the fabrics. In the fabrics that have happy DNA, and we define happy DNA in terms of access to genetic diversity, hemp and even wool and cotton, etc. These make a magnetic field that is useful to biology. Whereas your polyester and your plastic, the electric field is poisonous to everything alive because they prevent the charged field from breathing. Just put on a polyester sweater for 10 minutes. You feel like shit, basically. The physics is because that electric field of that plastic in your garment is preventing the charge envelope of your body from radiating capacitance efficiently. Just like, if you step into a metal building, you feel like shit. If you step into a sacred stone circle of ancient trees and stones, you feel like you're orating on pack and you feel wonderful. That's fractality versus fractionation. A very simple example. If a Cherokee Indian shaman is looking for a place to die, he will find a little hill that's fractal to the mountain behind it. And that fractality becomes the sacred burial ground. And that's a place from which Your electric field, your aura, your chi, your ka, your baraka, your boat into the underworld, your charge field, your soul, can non-destructively unpack and therefore take memory with you at death. It's absolutely critical that we stop being schizophrenic to think that our spiritual immortality is different than the coherence of an electric field. It's because we don't understand that we have these stupid people going to hospitals to die, where the electrosmog could scramble a chicken egg, and you don't have a prayer of getting out of there with your spirit memory intact. So, the hygiene for successful birth and successful death exquisitely depends upon understanding fractal capacitance, and therefore biologic architecture is the beginning of learning how to help people die and get born successfully. Use the example of a stupa, that actually a stupa is literally the shape of a capacitor, and there was gold there. What is gold? A fractal capacitor. So a stupa in itself is a study of biologic architecture, because it's a study in learning how to build a living capacitor that can serve and cause to thrive biology inside.